them are quite serious kinds of attacks, and many of them are not made public for various reasons. So in the US, they have now something called the Information Sharing Centers, or ISACs. So information sharing centers are sort of bodies which are vertical. So for example, there is an ICS CERT, which is Industrial Control System CERT. There is a banking CERT. There are other kinds of CERTs. These CERTs, basically, what they do is that they collect information from all the companies, and there is a mandate for various companies to share this information with this ISAC. And what happens with that information is that it is disseminated very carefully only to a certain group of people, not to the public. And then they are supposed to also help in remediation and other kinds of response. So main causes of these attacks or vulnerabilities that are exploited for creating these attacks are manifold. So for example, software errors is about 27%, malware attack is 30-some%, and various kinds of things that you can see is that it requires that at every level of the supply chain of systems of this type of criticality needs to be aware of cyber attacks. You cannot just say that I will just put some firewall and I'll put some antiviruses and things will be fine. Or this is actually something that has to be done grounds up. So you have to have cyber security awareness in software development process. You should have ways to validate the software for checking whether there are any cybersecurity vulnerabilities. You need tools that will be used to test or validate the software components to check whether there is any problem with the software. Similarly, you have to be able to detect the malware. You have to be able to detect intrusion, what we call intrusion detection systems. You should have also firewalls, and you should have various other kinds of ways to check for advanced persistent threats or threats that remain dormant for a while before they actually hit you. So then comes the issue of the mobile malware. So if you can see that this picture, between 2013 November and 2014 October, the number of mobile malwares that are known are actually rising. Actually, this is only for banking Trojans. Trojans are malware which hides inside your system in the form of other applications or in the form of parts of other applications, and then they will actually steal your password for your bank or something. And the number of mobile banking Trojans have increased, in a month over month in a quadratic rate. So this is quite alarming. Now, you might say that, okay, so this is all very scary, but since we don't know how to protect ourselves, similarly, there must be very few people who can actually do this kind of attacks, right? So that would be something we often assume, and by assuming this, we feel safe and secure. So let me tell you about the marketplace for vulnerabilities. So in Eastern Europe, there are lots of people who are very, very savvy with computer systems, and they know how to exploit systems. So what they have been doing now is that they are selling their services on the internet. And how are they selling their services? So many of you must have heard about Bitcoin. Right? So Bitcoin is a currency that does not require any intervention of any bank. So therefore, you can actually ask somebody to pay you in Bitcoins and be totally under the radar and render your services. So I'll show you some examples of this. So this is an hacker who is offering credit card information on his website from Russia. So it's not in the jurisdiction of any other country. So you cannot prosecute him, right? So you can get credit card information, use that on Flipkart or Amazon or something, and you can buy stuff. The black market for infecting various computers by using these as vectors, Adobe Reader or Mac OS or Android or Flash or Microsoft Word. The marketplace is there, and this marketplace has various rates. So for example, in 2011, so this is this is a paper in the Keonics conference by some people who actually went into this market camouflaging as buyers of these services, malware services, and they were given these kind of rates. So you can actually buy services. If you want to, if you don't have the technical know-how, you can buy services to infect others, right? And then there is this thing called pay per install service. So there are botnets. So botnets are machines that are controlling many computers by infecting those computers by malware. So these malwares might be because you downloaded something from a website, or you clicked on a link or clicked on a attachment that came with your email. Various ways these computers are infected with malware, and these malwares actually not only controls your computer, it sits there quietly and basically is used by a command and control computer. And there are many botnets which have millions of such machines around the world reporting to this botnet heads. So these botnet owners now have this something called pay per install service. So if you want that 5,000 computers should be within certain IP range and should be infected, you just go to them, pay them, and they will do it for you. They will even take your payload. So if you want to do a specific thing to those computers, you just give them your payload, and they will make sure that that payload is installed on those computers. And so you own the victim's machine, you download and install clients, and then the client's code, and then charge the client. And what is the rate? So the rate in 2011, in the same paper, $100 to $180 per 1,000 machines, whereas in Asia it was $7 to $8 per 1,000 machines. But this might have changed by now, because Asian machines might be more expensive. So the point is that we cannot be complacent that this know-how is very, very rare, so we don't have to worry about it. There are places where you can go and you can actually buy these services and make things happen. And so let's take a look at who are attacking our systems. So some of them are more scary than the others. For example, you can see that hacktivists, like Anonymous, for example, you can have hackers who are hobby hackers. They just want to play with you. The biggest concern is foreign governments hacking your systems. And then you have terrorists and criminal groups. And now it's not clear whether this is more problematic for us or this is more problematic for us. Because ISIS has a lot of money, and they are paying the marketplace that I just talked about to get these services done. So it's not like, okay, so they are very old-fashioned terrorists, so they don't have the know-how. That doesn't work anymore, because with money you can buy services to attack the systems. And then what you should be even more worried about, and I don't know, I mean, many of you might have faced this, that insider attack, so disgruntled employees, or people who have the password to your system even after they have finished their contract with you. So last year, Pricewaterhouse came up with a survey that showed 29% of the attacks are by insiders. So inside attack is a big concern, because almost 1/3 of the attacks are done by insiders. So this insider attack tells you that having firewalls and having some perimeter security is not enough, because with perimeter security, you can block the unwanted outsiders. How do you block the insiders? So your system has to be so secure that, so you have to do what we call defense in depth. So you cannot just do a few things and have security. Even if somebody has the password, there should be lots of checks and balances before something can be done by somebody, even with a very high level of privilege in using the system. But I mean, we can talk about this for a long time, but now one more thing that we have to be aware of is what we call the dark web. So the dark web is the place that, web that we normally go to read our news and go to our banking or go to do Facebook and so on, is what we call the surface web. And dark web is what is not visible without knowing the exact address and without using certain proxies and so on. And most of the black markets that I talked about for buying this kind of services are in the dark web. And many of you might have heard of Silicon Route that was used to even buy drugs through in the dark web, and then also to even buy services to kill other people through the dark web, right? So dark web is actually something that I have seen very little knowledge in India about dark web. So dark web is something that we have to explore, and our police forces and our intelligence forces must be inside the dark web. They should be able to camouflage themselves as operators in the dark web and get intelligence. So so there is these two levels. So Bargy web is the first level, where you have more or less okay type stuff, but then as you go below the dark web, so the level 4 is where you can have various kinds of malware and various kinds of services that are used for creating damage to systems. And below that, there are things which are some of this stuff are actually rumored. Not many people even know that if these things really exist. So you require something like a Tor or onion router kind of an anonymization service to actually make these things even go in there. So, so as I said that with this situation in hand, we are basically living in a dangerous place. So basically, for cybersecurity experts, our job is to our job is more like intelligence and police in the cyberspace, right? So what we are supposed to do is that we have to make assumption that the cyber world is full of adversaries, and we have to still get operational, because without cyber services on the cyber world, we cannot survive anymore. Everything, paying your bills and doing your banking and ordering your stuff and even running your power system or running your industrial automation system, all is on the cyberspace. So only thing is that until now, until about 10-15 years ago, we used to believe that we are in a world where there are not many adversaries. All the things that we download and use and everything is done by some benevolent person. Now we have to assume that the cyber world is full of adversaries, and we have to know how to protect ourselves from these adversaries, and the stakes are very high, especially in the critical infrastructure. So I already talked about this executive order of Obama that created this cybersecurity framework, and they are having their workshop in the next month, where probably they are going to finalize this. And you can actually go to the NIST website and actually download this document and read this document if you are in the protection of critical infrastructure sector. Now, here I'm going to be a little bit controversial. What is India doing in all this? And doing very little. So, government of India has authorized a National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, or NCIIPC, which is supposed to take all necessary measures to facilitate safe, secure, and resilient information infrastructure for critical sectors. So what is NCIIPC? So they have about 30, 40 people working there. It's in the JNU campus. And actually it's in the old JNU campus. So, NCIIPC is under the NTRO, the National Technical Research Wing. So the ICIT, or the Government of India's Interdepartmental Information Security Task Force, has set up a CERT, or Computer Emergency Response Team, to respond to cybersecurity incidents and take steps to prevent recurrence of the same. So as the CISO of IIT Kanpur, I get emails from CERT India, and I have to tell you that they don't really give much information, and whatever information they give are not actionable. So you have to give actionable information so that I can do something. So, but let's not criticize them, they're new. So what are the key responsibilities of NCIIPC? So they are the national nodal agency to protect the critical information infrastructure. They are supposed to deliver advice to reduce vulnerabilities, identify the elements that are vulnerable. They are supposed to provide strategic leadership and such. And they are supposed to do various other things, develop various publications. They're supposed to develop cooperation strategies between various sectors. They're supposed to give guidelines, advisories, and so on, exchange knowledge and experiences with CERT and other organizations. And they can call for information and give information and so on. Now, how many of you have even heard of NCIIPC? Okay, so I have been talking to them, and I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, they don't have expertise. So you have to have expertise to do all this, right? So they have to build expertise. So we are trying to work with them to build expertise, but it's a long way from actually be able to fulfill their mandate. So I read an article by somebody, an independent industrial analyst, and he says that I mean, it's not only my feeling. I mean, he's talking about this. And since I cannot read from here, I would let you read what is written over there. But what it says is that they don't have been doing what they're supposed to do, and they don't have the expertise, and they don't have I guess the level of urgency that they supposed to work with, right? So that's one of the biggest problem. So I think that we should be able to help them as a community of industry and so on, and work with them because this is a national priority. This should be a national priority to protect our information infrastructure, our power systems, our power plants, our irrigation systems and dams and so on. As you saw that, the dams, the hydroelectric dam in New York got hacked only in December. So power system of Israel got hacked. Israel has one of the best cybersecurity workforce in the world. So then what kind of prayer do we have if we are actually are targeted? So then there is also Data Security Council of India. Anybody from Data Security Council here? So they have they are supposed to work on rules and responsibilities. At the same time, the government needs to do policy and legal structures, so they have various working groups. So this DSCI has various working groups. One is for policy, one is for manpower needs, one is for the protection and so on. And as I said, that one of their So you can actually go and look at the document, dsci.gov, in.gov or something, and you will see that not much has been done since it has been established. I mean, there has been some meetings and talks and so on, but there hasn't been the warlike footing in which this should be done has not been done, and people seems to be taking it very easy. So that's something where. So now NASSCOM, it thinks that the IT and BPM industry will, in 2025 will achieve the size of $350 to $400 billion. And India should be able to make about 10% of that in cybersecurity industry. So cybersecurity industry is big in Israel. In India, there is not much cybersecurity industry as such to speak of, right? So we don't have products. We have many companies doing projects abroad, like we have Infosys, we have TCS, we have Wipro, and various companies doing implementing large projects around the world. But we don't have any cybersecurity type of product or projects that we are doing. And NASSCOM thinks that we should at least do $35 to $40 billion by 2025. Now, Israel has more than 200 cybersecurity companies. So I was part of this CII delegation last year to Israel for cybersecurity. And the Prime Minister of Israel came to this conference that we went to. The Home Minister of Israel came to that conference and talked about cybersecurity as a national priority. They actually are they established multiple research centers at all their top universities. And they actually created a center in Beersheba where this whole entire university and the surrounding community will be startups for cybersecurity related technologies. And we went to Tel Aviv where we saw at least 100 plus cybersecurity companies, and somebody mentioned here some company that they trained for. I forgot who it was, and one of the Israeli companies. So these companies together made a $6 billion export of cybersecurity products last year. So $6 billion with 200 companies is not very much, and we are talking about 35 to 40 billion. So you think that how many startups we need to actually realize this vision. Now, this is even possible. It's not impossible, but I think that this requires a national scale, emergency level, warlike footing activity in cybersecurity research, training, and also integration of cybersecurity into curriculum of colleges and so on. So we cannot just throw in such numbers without actually doing the actions that are needed to make this happen. So our center at IIT Kanpur actually has some vision to actually make this startup culture around our center so that we can actually build some startups and make this at least similar to what the Israel centers are doing. And we are actually in the process of doing an MOU with the Tel Aviv University, the center at the Tel Aviv University, to get their expertise and opinion and so on. And we are again going there in June this year, again for the same kind of event. But so we need to take more action here. So this is the CSFT's Skill Development Working Group's goals. So let me see if I can read it. So they want 1 million. They want 1 million certified cybersecurity professionals by 2025. 1 million. We are talking about 1 lakh per year. So if we do 1 lakh per year, 2025 is 9 years from now, so you'll get only 9 lakhs. So actually 10 lakhs is 1 million, right? So we are right on target, right? So probably you need to do more franchising and so on. But the question is, they are talking about cybersecurity professionals. They're not talking about just awareness or things like that. These people are supposed to be cybersecurity experts, professionals who can actually take a system and rip it apart and see where the vulnerabilities are, re-architect it, and rebuild it to be cyber secure and guarantee cybersecurity, certify the products as cybersecurity. These are the kind of people we need to build. Now, one IIT or 10 IITs, or there are 24 IITs and I don't know, 30 NITs, they cannot do it, right? You need a lot more national level effort to do this. I cannot read anything. So 5 regional security hubs for to be integrated with industry, 200 training providers, 200 universities and colleges which are going to give very specialized training. So various things they have said in this working group documents. You can see it on the website of them. But the point is the data council. But the point is that who will do it and how will do it. There is no such thing. Now I'm going to change gear a little bit. How much time do I have? Okay. So now I'm going to change a little bit about and talk a little bit about training. So first of all, to be cybersecurity expert, you have to be schizophrenic. So, and this is something I believe, and a lot of people probably believe, that you not only have to be a designer of software or hardware or system, but you also have to imagine what this guy this adversary is doing. And you have to also imagine this adversary is thinking that you are thinking about him and his plans. So he has to again, re-strategize based on what he is thinking, and then you have to be one stage advanced. This is like playing a game of chess, right? You have to think 3 steps ahead in order to make sure that you can do this. So when we give training to these people in cybersecurity, so I have done some training in last few months to CDAC at various locations and NTRO and so on. But those trainings were like 3-day training or 5-day training. You cannot really make people think like this in 3 days. It requires a lot of lab work. It requires them to actually make attacks, actually make repair of the programs and show that it's now proof to that attack, but then another attack has to be launched and so on and so forth. So it's a cyclic process that has to go on before it seeps into the mindset of people. So this is something we have to do in a lot more elaborate way. Now, so we talked a lot about attacks. So you can attack the software by vulnerability, for example, you can have buffer overflow, or you can have memory leak, or you can have pointer deallocation and then accessing the pointer, things like that. Then there can be attacks on the operating system's architecture of authorization and authentication, root privilege escalation, priority inversion, and so on. But there are other kinds of attacks. And so we just had a 4-day workshop at IIT Kanpur last month on side channel attacks. So side channel attacks are attacks that happens because some information gets leaked while you are doing computation. For example, when you are doing an encryption, your key is secret, but because of the power consumption or because of the electromagnetic radiation that happens during the computation, you can reconstruct the key. And the 4 days we had 4 experts from US, 2 experts from the US, 1 from Netherlands, 1 from Belgium, They are experts, and they have actually dedicated their life on side channel attacks, and they came for 4 days and trained a lot of people, including people from the government. And this is something where India has almost no knowledge except some people in IIT Kharagpur. So this is something that is becoming more and more important, because we are going to use this identity cards with smart cards. The DEIT is actually developing a smart card with their indigenous operating system and so on. These are the places where these attacks happen. Passport, if the passport has this, RFID tags, these kind of places where secrets can be leaked through side channels. So this is something we need to train people with. We have software vulnerability-based attacks. We talked about buffer overflow and various other kinds of things. For training on these things, we actually build sandboxes and make the students use those sandboxes, and within the sandbox have vulnerable programs or vulnerable libraries, and make them attack those systems, so that the sandboxes are such that even if the students do a really bad or really good job, it does not attack the rest of the system on which they are being trained, right? So we have to build such things. Then there are other kinds of things. We have to be able to detect attacks that are coming from bots near us. So there are many of our computers that are probably recruited by a botnet. We don't know that. So we should be able to have the ability to detect that and thwart them. And in fact, in the US, the FBI is very much involved in disrupting these kind of botnets. They have actually been successful in disrupting various botnets. So we have to have the law enforcement agencies to be involved in this figuring out the command and control center of these botnets. There is also de-anonymization attack. So we have this anonymous communication that happens through onion routers or Tors. But China apparently has been able to do de-anonymization of Tor traffic, which is very dangerous. So we have to be able to work on that. So I'm just giving you some examples of things that you may or may not have thought about. And these things exist. And these things require a lot of thinking and a lot of training and a lot of research as well. So a pathology of an attack normally happens like this. So those are what I showed in the previous slides were examples of various point attacks. But when you want to attack, let's say, if you remember, Sony got hacked 2 years ago because of this movie thing. Target is a chain of supermarkets. They got hacked, and lots of millions of credit card information got hacked. And they got hacked not from the internet, they got hacked from the point of sale machine. The point of sale machine got hacked. And that basically led to the database where all this credit card information is stored. Sony PlayStation, millions of credit cards were hacked, figured out by the hackers. And these kind of things happen. RSA even got hacked. Think about this. RSAs, those one-time passwords, those seeds got hacked. And they had to actually give people new tokens to a lot of companies. So the reason is that the way it happens is that nowadays there is this thing called IP convergence. So what is an IP convergence? So earlier, the critical part of your business, say your manufacturing line, although it was controlled by a control